So what's actually happening here, you get the information that's been sent to this page. If the user is getting to this page because they clicked on the form and typed something in, they're getting back to it, then there's some information in this variable we're calling new name. It's got some data that's been submitted by the form that was printed out. If, for example, though, the page is just being gone to, for example, by a link, and there's no data being submitted, this form hasn't been submitted yet. If someone is opening this page up from their bookmarks, their favorites, or if they're coming from another site and coming to this page, then there is no information. So we have a couple options here. If the first item, remember we use even numbers to refer to the items in the submitted information. So if that text file is not none, if it isn't empty, then what we're going to do is write to the user's text file a line break and then the name that was submitted. So what that's doing is it's writing something to the hard drive on the server, on the web server, which has been submitted by the user. That only happens if what's been sent is not empty. If the user has already been here and they've pressed the submit button, they're going back and coming back to this page with some data being sent to it. So it does this, and then what happens is the script, and this happens whether or not the user has submitted something. If they're just coming here for the first time, what it's going to do is read those lines from users.text into a variable we call signatures, and then it's going to print that data. And then in either case, no matter what happens, either is done, that conditional is done, then it prints another form at the bottom. So there are some things that can happen here. Every single time when this page is come to, it prints the HTML header, prints a title, it prints here's a list of visitors who have signed this page, and prints a carriage return, and it does some checking, but it always at the bottom prints a form where the user can enter their name. And then if the text file exists, if it doesn't, it just creates the text file. If it does exist, then it goes through and it does some other stuff. It checks to get the information, it reads in the data that's been sent to it. If something's been submitted, it writes it to the hard drive, it writes it to that user's text file, it writes the name to it. And in either case, it reads and prints out the signatures that are already in the user's .text file. So let's take a look at that. In this case, we're doing one called example 7. I've saved that whole bit of code as one file, example7.cgi, and this has been tested out a few times. So there are some names in here. If we want to enter another name, let's enter Paul. So it's printed out those names. Now it's printed out the form on the bottom. We click submit. It's going to go back to this web page. The action is going to point to this, which runs through the whole thing again. It prints the list, which now has saved the name Paul to the hard drive, and we get another entry at the bottom. We can keep doing this, entering names. So basically, this keeps a guest book for us, users who have signed this page. That does something useful, and we're actually creating interactive pages now. Next, we've got a really typical kind of application for online. Again, we start out with the standard header and information on top. Start printing out some HTML. In this case, we're going to print some additional HTML. Most web pages aren't this simple looking. They don't just have a big white background with nothing else. Typically, you'll see, as in this web page that you're looking at, there's usually a header and a footer and maybe some tables, a layout that's similar to the rest of your page, or the rest of your website. And it's really easy to do that. You can read in the header along with any tables and centering options and layout that you want. You just read that. You put that all in one HTML file on your web server, and you read it and print it. So this prints out all of that. And I did the same thing at the bottom here. This reads in a footer and prints it. And then the next thing this is going to do, since we're going to be working with email, we're going to use the setNet function to set some email values. We need to set where the SMTP server is. We need to set a from address. We set those things because we're going to be sending emails with this program. Next thing we do is we decode the information that's been sent to this CGI, and we assign the value submitted to that. And again, we make some checks. We want to see if that submitted value has some data in it. If it does have some data, we're going to do all this. We're going to do all this stuff. And if no data has been sent to it, we're not going to do any of that. We're just going to continue on, and the next thing that happens is we print out a form. So if, for example, we open this page up from our favorites, we haven't submitted any data to it yet. It just prints out a form, and on that form we have again a submit button. We have some text entry fields, one for the user's name, one for the email, one for their message, a text area. That's like an area widget in a Rebol GUI. So there's a couple lines of text and a big block of text. A submit button. We have some tables to center things and put things, lay out things nicely. And then we have a footer on the bottom. So that gets printed if this page has been opened without any data submitted to it. But again, the action in that form points back to this page. So what's going to happen is, if we just open this up, it's going to print us a form, and we have some data to enter, and then the data is going to be sent back to this CGI program. In that case, there is some data in the submitted variable. We are decoding some data coming to this page, and it's not empty. If it's not empty, that means that some data has been submitted. We have to do something with it. And what we're going to do is take that data. Again, each of those items, we use the even numbers to refer to the items that are sent. Remember, we had a name item, we had an email item, we had a text area message. So those are the items that we're decoding. Submitted number 2, submitted 4, and submitted 6. We're going to put all that into a variable which we're calling sent message. We're joining this text, a new line, some text, a couple more new lines, a timestamp which is going to include the now time, and my web server is 3 hours behind me. I live in Philadelphia, and the web server is in California. So when I get my timestamps, I want them actually to be in my time. So I add 3 hours to whatever the web server's time is. The timestamp shows me the date and time it's been submitted. New line, and this is going to create a message which has the user's name, whatever they typed in, has the user's email, whatever they typed in, it has the big message that they typed in. All gets rejoined into the variable sent message, and then the interpreter does this. It sends an email with the subject refinement to this address at my website, and what it sends is that sent message that we put in. So I get a message, have this email me with whatever message, a name and email and message that the user puts in along with the timestamp, and puts a little subject heading on it that says form submission. So when I see that in my email, I know it's something that came from my web page.